So my name is Beata. I am a communications specialist at the Ignalina Nuclear Power Plant now, and I actually didn't choose to come here myself. That was my parents. I mean, my mom and my dad, they were very young, and when my dad finished his university, I remember my very young childhood in Belarus, in Vitebsk. So my parents from there, they decided to move to move to Visaginas because of the Ignalina Nuclear Power Plant. So my dad, he received and he got the chance to work in the constructions. That's why they decided to move from Belarus here. But at those days, there were no borders. So there were free way to travel to Lithuania and go back to Belarus. So it was fine for us. My uncle and my dad's brother, older brother, he actually participated in construction since 1975. So he built a power plant, let's say like that. And when they in 1991, the year before the independence, there were an offer: either you're going to stay in Lithuania and then you become Lithuanian, or either you're going to go back to Belarus. So my parents decided to stay here, and that's how. Finally, I spent most of my time in childhood here in Visaginas. The most memorable thing, lots of lights. So we were not scared to walk on the streets. Warm, winter, and it's hot. It's just like boiling in the flats. So I remember myself a little shorts and t-shirt, and then we visited grandma, and it's freezing, and I could not compare and understand what's wrong, because I was a little kid. Why it's such a big difference when you go to visit granny, you are freezing there in their flats, and you're coming back, then obviously hot water and electricity was for free. A lot of people, thousands and thousands of people, wherever you go, many kids, a lot. And a lot of connections, because now I compare myself, because I am a parent now, and I compare myself to my parents. We were always spending time together in families. So families, young families, they were in connections. We were traveling, we were hiking, and again, I can connect Visaginas to forest. I spent my childhood in forest, because in front of my flat where we live in this house, we straight away, if you cross the street, we have a forest. So picking berries, stones, and climbing trees, and do all the crazy stuff as you as a kid. So this is something I remember as being a children. Being a child. I see less kids on the streets. Rare I see them, for example, in the evening. I remember myself, we were climbing into even those unfinished houses, where there's still kind of a dark and dangerous. But we were not afraid, to go there. I don't know. But now I would not imagine even myself personally to go there. I don't know. I mean, maybe because I'm already kind of, a grown up person. But for kids, I never saw. Even it's rare you're going to find, if you're going to go to the playground, even in summer. Just maybe somewhere in the center, you will see lots of killed kids, with parents. I think, yeah, we changed a lot. I think the parents again, so maybe, moreover, I will tell you that there is less and less actually young generation, as you mentioned yourself, that we have less young generation here. So we kind of are missing this middle age here in Visaginas. So I think because of the number of young families. Uh, Maybe because of the places, I myself, having kids, would might be able to name only two places where I would like to go and play with kids. When I remember my childhood, there was, we were not, even my parents were not afraid to let us go to the streets. Now kids, they have phones, you know. Now kids, they have watches. I myself afraid to leave my kid on the street. I don't know why. Something's really changed nowadays. Maybe someone does. Maybe someone does. I know such an examples, but I personally know. I personally know. Maybe I was. I personally kind of a solo. Mostly now, families are worried about work. Then the kids have a lot of different after school activities, so they need to go somewhere else. And obviously, parents are very tired, and then you need to think about the evening and taking care of the night. And then again, you're going to go to the job and then school and all those basic regime within the day. So obviously, we are now, I think, like kind of more exhausted or something like that. You know that you need to run and run and run and run every day for something. I even myself feel myself exhausted every day. So I don't know why, but there is less and less time for interaction, because again, it takes a lot of power out of you, and you need to have that interaction because when you interact, you give something, right? Attention, place, space, food, something, energy. And I think we're lack of energy nowadays. I don't know why, but I think so. So something like that. You know, I even think my parents were much more happier than we are now. I don't know why. You know, I would say that when I actually ended my university, there were so many classmates that actually stayed here in Lithuania. But because I was from Visaginas, and for me, it was really hard to integrate into the Lithuania. Yes. I realized actually when I applied into the university and the first course, I understood that I was living in some kind of a different country. I was not living in Lithuania at all, because Lithuania is absolutely different. The people, I don't even know what is it Lithuania about. Being a Lithuanian and spending a lot of time in Lithuania, I was always living in Visaginas within the Russian culture. Not called it Russian. I cannot say called it Russian because we are such a big mixture here. I myself half Poland, half Belarusian, and then we have thousands like these examples. And when we applied for the university, so we were many of us. Now, after the university, I realized that it's going to be really hard for me to stay here. I do not know that good Lithuanian. I'm more into English. I'm more into Russian, which is not there was not that popular. Even English was not popular those days, you know. So you need to know Lithuanian, and that for me it was that integration was so hard that I decided that it's better to try somewhere abroad. And not only I, whole my classmates and maybe 100 or 150, once we finished the school, they all decided to go back in England. And even I did so. My sister, who is younger than me for 4 years, she did so. So many like that, classmates and all other pupils who finished the schools, they did so. So they traveled abroad, mostly in UK. And now I see only, I will give you on my fingers, I might find you 5 people, 5. Even I will not be able maybe to find 5, you know, who actually came back. I wish we will have, that's why I feel myself as a stranger here now. Because I do have a lot of connections, you know, like at home, and I am a very social person. Communication is not hard for me. But the thing is, like, I have none of them left, none of my acquaintances left since the past, you know. So that's why I see sometimes a young generation is already strangers for me, and I'm a stranger for them. They don't know me, some kind of an auntie walking down the street, you know. The younger generations, they're still scared of me because I'm a stranger again. For those grannies, they don't care about me they don't care about me at all. They just, you know, they want to end up happily, you know, but that's fine. And then you understand that you are kind of trying to find your place in your own town. That's where the interesting fact I found out to myself. Now you know, you're aware about the situation. This is what makes it painful, because you know that one day you're going to receive a call saying that your granny, you know, no more there, and there is nothing you would be able to do, because you would not be able to sit in the car, cross the border, and straight away come into this flat and open the door first, you know? So you're not going to be that first person. So this is what makes it awful, I mean, crazy. And you are kind of divided. Part of me, my two elder sisters are still living there. My uncle, who died already, but we have a big land and a house, and I'm not even able to go and visit them. They are so much closer to border, like 2 hours drive. And the crazy thing, you cannot even cross the border because nobody allows you. So you cannot see them as much as you could possibly able to see them if the situation would not be as such as we have now. So it's really hard, actually, I would say. If just to make a long story short, in the Soviet Union time, they all the RBMK reactors we know were built in the Soviet Union, right? So all there are RBMK. So again, Baltic countries, let's call them Baltic countries, Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia. We had our own sources, and again Poland, and again Belarus, but they needed a very powerful source to help obviously to produce electricity for in the Soviet Union for these countries, mostly for Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Kaliningrad, Poland, and Belarus. So that was a very huge project, which is called Всесоюзная коммунистическая стройка. That's a worldwide communistic constructions, right? From the whole Soviet Union, and I do mean that, from the whole Soviet Union, different parts, different countries. Till today's date, we still have 46 nationalities in this country present. They traveled here for a very massive project to build something that never been built, and they actually did that. They succeeded for the half only, because by the project they wanted to have 4 units with 1,500 megawatts. The construction started in 1975 under the name, the town was under the name Snechkus at those days, and till 1991. Yes, so 1991. That was the age of, then we're gonna become independent. We're gonna become independent. Change the name, but before the catastrophe in 1986, that was actually will change the history of RBMK itself, because the constructions will stop. The town itself, the constructions of the town will stop as well. The town will be left with one wind, because the project were sound as a butterfly, and you might see symbols everywhere of the butterfly. So now this is the result. I think that's why we are connected to Chernobyl as well. I think because it has a huge impact on us, because that's why we are who we are now. But then again, after we entered the EU, now we're doing something that is very unique and challenging. So now we're only 2 units instead of 4. There was the third unit were built for the 60%, and they demolish it. They will take a decision that Lithuania will stay only with the 2 units. They will minimize the power of the second unit for a bit. But anyway, that was the main source for Lithuania. 80% of electricity. Electricity was very, very cheap. If you're now going to convert the Lithuanian money into euro cents, I would say that 7 cents of Lithuanian money, that's for how much we sold it. And for us, it was around 5 cents. I think 1 or 2 euro cents, that was the price for the kilowatt of electricity. That's nothing. I mean, that was very, very cheap. Now is the most important thing for us is to safely dismantle it. This is our purpose, and within that path, we have a lot of challenges to go through and a lot of tasks to resolve. So mainly, it's a safe storage and of the waste, transportation, and again the decommissioning. The amount of the constructions we have and materials we have is huge. So I think this is the main responsibility, just to be responsible for what once we used, and make sure and to do something that never did before. Actually, this is something we are talking about now, and communicate this message into the public about reactors and dismantling of those reactors with the graphite in it. To stay and maintain it, to stay and supervise it, to leave and find another way out, another purposes, not to stuck only in future and having those never-ending funerals, that this is what we had. But obviously the generation will change. What I am worried about, for the youngest to see the purpose, for the youngest to see the future, for the youngest to want to come back, connect the history with reality, and build a future, something like that. So I think that was a challenge, just to stay and live in a town once you loved and you saw, because I am a witness of a history, and this history happens in front of my eyes. Once I am entering the reactor hall, I see the live machine. Another day I'm entering the reactor hall after a couple of months, there is no more machine. But I do travel to reactor every day. And then I'm realizing within the 6 months, I was not even paid attention how closer to me the dismantling was, and now you cannot already turn back the page. This is done. This is the history. Now I'm going to talk about it in the past. So the thing is like, the work will be, there's going to be a lot of work here, because that amount of waste you need to control. You need to have some certain buildings and equipment and anyway facilities in order to take care of that, because that a lots of waste. But how and will the town remains as it is now, I don't know. Oh, this is kind of an interesting question, but the thing is like possibilities. I even tried myself. I'm not that old yet, and even now here at my age, I am such a person. I think even if I would be 18 or 35 as I'm now, I would still try to change something. Like kind of, to change something within my own possibilities and abilities. So maybe being young gives you a priority or some kind of more energy or something, where you can obviously, yes, in health and working hours and again, energy source, which is really important. So probably I would put something into creating, or something creating for the better of the town itself. I mean, not that much would be changed. I mean, I would do something like I do now, working with young, but now I work with kids, and again in the public. So something to leave something behind you. I would do something like that, but with connected with Visaginas, because I love my town. I do really love my town. That's why I would not probably stay here for such a long time, even when I had a lot of promotions or proposals to leave it and go somewhere else, and for the better working places and for the better um, conditions and everything. But with that love, I would probably stay, prosper, study, collaborate with someone else, maybe. See, even I think you myself might answer this question as well, because you told me about it once you made an acquaintance at some meeting, right? Or you've been at the exhibition or something like that, right? And that person told you 3 first sentences about the Visaginas, where the one sounds like we are Russian town after the Soviet Union and we are here somewhere at the corner. So this is how other people feel about us. This is what the myths that were created, or something that were created since the time when we were producing electricity. Probably that was no problem for none of the citizens in Lithuania, because we were the source and everybody knew that this is why actually this town exists, right? But now when they're going to shut the Ignalina, and nowadays this is what being created between the country and Visaginas. It's kind of a separate relationship where you are not even can feel yourself safe when you say I'm from Visaginas, because you might be considered as an agent from somewhere else, or Russian or something like that. But you are not like this. Even myself, sometimes I'm thinking, should I say that I'm from Visaginas or not? So this is really, it's really crazy. But I think because of that, this is a very complicated. It's like a puzzle. It should be made from the governmental side, from the media side, from bringing another perspective of this town, integrating this town into the whole country. This is who we are. This is our part. Because I would metaphorically imagine the country as a body. This is my hand, this is my legs, and this is my toes. Yeah, they are far from my head, but again, they are mine. So something like this. So again, not trying to differentiate and say because there are 60% or 50% Russian speakers, that's why they're bad, they're Russians and so on, That's why we're not going to integrate, or we're going to kind of trying to avoid looking at this town or something like that. So I think this should be done from both sides. Same as from Visaginas, to be ready to accept and to be ready to integrate much more, and to be ready to learn and let that Lithuania come here. And same for the Lithuanians, maybe, I think, something like that. Not to be afraid of us, of Visaginas, and kind of accept us as a family, not of something being separated, of something like trying to still separate or something like that.